The very first double-barreled tank is coming to World of Tanks console, and today we're going to have a look at what these double-barreled tanks are and what the first one is, and of course some information regarding what is coming in the next couple of updates as the new season is launching very soon, with our current season ending on Tuesday's update next week. So of course only a couple days away to have the end of the season, so if you're kind of getting towards the end of the season, then you want to make sure that you've completed up to rank 100 if possible to get all of your bonuses, which of course leads us into the Soldiers of Fortune. Of course, if you haven't already, you can check out all of the vehicles that were part of this season on the channel. There's plenty of tanks that were available, including the Bandit, the Emil 1951, we've done the M41D recently, and we've done the Ruthless as well. So you can have a look at all of those if you're interested in finding out how to play them, if you're struggling with them, or you just simply want to be able to take them out if you're seeing them in the game. And hopefully that will be useful to at least some of you. Either way, of course, with the season ending, there is a new season coming, and as we typically remember, at Christmas time we usually have quite a few themed events. We usually have a Christmas themed game mode as well that comes in, that's usually the toy tank mode. Now whether they would add in some extra bits and bobs this year, we don't know, but it'd be interesting to see. But getting back to the matter of fact, which is the new double-barreled tanks coming into the game. I say new, but we knew about double-barreled tanks from about 5 years ago when they were first introduced into World of Tanks PC, with of course the Soviet double-barreled vehicles having the two barrels. There's a surprise straight in the name, and you can see the first one here, which is a Black Friday vehicle, and there are two new Black Friday vehicles, which is this 703-2 as well as the Jaguar Black Edition, which you're seeing on the right. This is the first ever Cold War black tank, which is actually kind of nice, and I assume it will get the crazy bonuses that we see with our standard vehicles. So without further ado, the first tank of course the double barrel vehicles is the Object 703-2, which is a tier 8 Soviet heavy tank with of course two barrels, and this is actually a very strong one on PC. It's really good, and is yeah, always nice to see the double barreled guns actually working quite well. So how do you actually use it? What have Wargaming given it? Well, yes, they do have two barrels, and therefore there are two options as to how you can use it. You have the single fire mode and you have the double shot mode. Now, the single fire, as it sounds, is where you fire one barrel and then, you know, you reload, you fire another one, or you can fire both, like one after the other, because it's like an autoloader. But you also then have the double shot mode where you can fire both shells at the exact same time and of course deal double the damage. But when you do that, you suffer in damage per minute because of course you're having to reload the full amount, and the difference between reloading the first shell is much longer than reloading the second shell, which is why sometimes it's worth using it as a single shot when you have one in the magazine, and essentially when the second one reloads, you fire that off as opposed to firing both of them and having nothing in the chamber, because it will take you longer to reload. But shooting. Double-barrel tanks have two firing modes that you can swap between during the battle. To change modes, press the Alt mode button, which is generally left on the D-pad. You'll see this for basically most kind of schemes, which is what you see in your settings menu. Of course, if you want to check it out, you can go to press the start button. You go to settings. You'll see that there's a control tab at the top of the list. You go to that, and it will show you exactly where all of the different various tanks are that are in your game. So you can basically find out from there what you need to actually click. But for the majority of people, if you haven't changed any of your settings or control layout, then it is going to be left on the D-pad. So you just press that in, and then you're going to swap to the double shot mode. And so single fire, after shooting the current gun, it will automatically switch to the next one. This is so you don't keep holding the swap gun button after every shot to change to the other gun. You can still manually swap guns if you wish by holding the swap gun button, so you can fire off the right gun or the left. There will be a short delay before you can fire the second gun. Double shot, both barrels will be fired at the exact same time. There is a short delay before you can fire again if you switch to single fire after shooting both guns. So it's almost like with the Swedish tank destroyers, or the speed boost mechanic on the CS63, whereby you have to wait a little bit before you can then go into the next mode. It's going to be that slight delay where you've got a second or so where you can't do anything with your gun. But of course, single fire and double shot, you'll see in the game these two icons will appear, and that's going to tell you which mode you're in, and if you have to swap, or if you want to swap, you'll know what you're actually swapping to, which will be handy. Either way, new HUD for double barrel vehicles. So this is what the HUD actually looks like. You can see the reticle is slightly different. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit just so you get a better idea. You can see the reticle somewhere here. So this is what you got. You've got the reload of the right gun, and then once that's reloaded, you'll then have the reload of the second one, which I'm sure will come up to here. So you'll have two in blue, and that will tell you that you're fully reloaded with both of your shells. Hopefully. Hopefully there's no bugs. But given the fact that this is a brand new mechanic in the game, there might well be some bugs. So we'll just have to wait and see when it's released into the wild. But we'll be doing a full review of this vehicle when it gets released on Tuesday. So it'll be an interesting one. But of course, reload bar status: black is when the gun's empty, white is when the gun is loaded, blue is when it's reloading, and red is when you have the delay between actually shooting. So you'll get used to using that, and that's gonna how it's gonna actually work. You can see here the 703-2 in the actual game. This is what it looks like. You can see down here is the different modes. This is how you swap between them. You can see probably better to actually zoom in again. You can see here this is the double shot, this is the single shot. Looks like he's in the single shot right now, and so yeah, when he swaps, it will be going into the double shot, and you can see. So with that being said, of course, we want to find out how much is this actually going to cost us. And given the fact that this is a brand new premium tank and it's a black tank, that means that it's usually quite expensive, and they usually don't give bonuses, at least, or discounts usually on these. But the tank characteristics, so let's have a look at the statistics. This is where we find out what the bonuses are. So on the 703-2, you get a 75% bonus tank XP in every game that you play, and you actually don't get a decent silver bonus. You only get 50%, so you're not really making a lot of money with your 703-2, at least compared to some of the other vehicles which might get a 75% bonus or whatever when you look at things like the Ragnarok and stuff like that. But 1500 hit points, pretty standard for a heavy tank at tier 8. You have a power to weight ratio of 11.5, so it's very sluggish in the game. It's not particularly the fastest vehicle for sure. Your speed limit is 38 kilometers an hour, which is actually not awful. It feels like you can get up to that usually on PC. If it transfers to this, then yeah, it shouldn't be awful. But of course, then you got 15 kilometers of reverse speed, fine, whatever. Hold traverse and turret traverse are 26 and 20 respectively, and then 5 degrees of gun depression as well. Makes this tank fairly versatile. I mean, it's nothing outrageous, but 5 degrees is okay. It's still going to be very limiting in a lot of situations, but you can make it work if you understand where to position yourself. Primary gun, of course, the 122mm with 390 alpha damage, having 2 shells capable of dealing 780 damage in one go. Of course, if you fire them both at the same time. And there is, they are basically the exact same. The statistics of both. Your aim time is horrendous, 3.5 seconds, very bad. Your accuracy is also very bad, 0.44. Your rate of fire, 4.38, gives you a damage per minute of 1,708. Which is, yeah, not particularly the greatest in the world. So, yeah, I don't really know how it's actually going to work, but we'll see what it's like in the game. You get 3 types of shells in this vehicle. You've got APCR as standard, which is perfect, and then heat rounds as your premium rounds, which is really, really nice. Trust me, having APCR as standard means that you can hit targets at long ranges, use it when you're having to lead and stuff like that, and the heat rounds just allow you to basically dominate other heavy tanks at the tier, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want. And they have 221 pen on the standard, 270 on the heat, and 61 on the HE. So yeah, it's actually not bad at all. And I think The main gun of this thing is what makes it quite good, and of course the armor works somewhat well in terms of it's very flat at the front. It doesn't get the pike nose that you typically see with a lot of the other vehicles in the game, which is a bonus for me anyway when you see this thing in the game. So you can see it is just a sheer flat plate on the front which you can angle, which is nice. So if you angle for the front, you're not then just getting penned in the lesser angled area of the pike nose, which is good. Either way, view range, absolutely dreadful, 350 meters. You are not going to be spotting a hell of a lot in this vehicle, which is good. We don't want to be seeing heavies all of the time out spotting mediums and light tanks just because they put coated optics and camo net on. But yeah, well, either way, it's a good change. Then moving on, I guess we can look at the other vehicle that we have. We'll get to the price of both of these as we go through this article as well, so we can see that in a minute. But the Jaguar, this is the Escalation Era 2. This is the Eastern Alliance vehicle. As you can see, looks very kind of, I guess, Soviet in what it looks like. And you've got it as a medium tank. This is a flexible medium, will assist its allies in classic medium tank playstyle, apparently. So this could be quite interesting because I always like the medium tanks in Cold War. They feel like they've got really nice damage per minute. You can rack up a lot of damage quite quickly, and they typically have decent penetration. But let's see whether Jaguar does meet that expectation. This one gets 50% silver bonus and 75% tank XP. So no extra silver bonus with this one, so it's not going to be the best tank to earn silver. It does, however, get 2,600 hit points, which is okay. It does get 60.6 kilometers an hour top speed, which is nice. And then you've got a reverse speed of 23. You have a hull and turret traverse of 44 and 34, which is, you know, okay. Gun depression of 7 degrees is okay. It's nothing outrageous, but it's not bad. 432 millimeters of standard penetration, and it is armor piercing, fin stabilized, depleted Sabo rounds, I believe. So yeah, the APF SDS, which is the 1455 meters a second. So it's basically APCR, essentially same sort of thing, but super fast round, really easy to hit targets at long range, and it doesn't get that much worse penetration than the heat rounds. But remember, heat rounds absorbed by basically all of the spaced armor in the game. So yeah, I mean, in Cold War, spaced armor is basically everywhere. So yeah, not ideal. But damage per minute, 3,500. It is not the most outrageous in the game, but it's an Era 2 tank, and so it's not the worst in the game either. It gets 505 meters view range, which is pretty cracked when you put all of your coated optics, when you put camo net on, if you wanted to do that, of course. And then, yeah, with ventilation, you can make this thing pretty much a really good scout at the same time as being a medium and having decent damage per minute. But overall, tank looks pretty kind of average, I guess, or at least, you know, somewhat standard in terms of how it looks. But armor wise, has it got any armor in this game? And by the looks of things, no, I don't think it has any armor really whatsoever. You can see the upper hull and the lower hull don't appear to have spaced armor. As you can see, that this plate right here does seem to have the same kind of strength, or I guess same armor value on the side here as the front, which would indicate that there is not a plate that is a thin strip that is on top of the front of it. Now, I might be completely wrong, and maybe it's difficult to actually see, even though it looks like it would have maybe some spaced armor on the front. It doesn't look like it actually does, and in fact that looks like the standard armor. So you're probably going to get penned through the front very, very easily, as well as through the turret as well, although it is quite well angled, as you can see here, and maybe a side profile gives you a better view that maybe could bounce a couple off the turret, but for the most part it is most likely going to get penned by everything that you come up against. So yeah, not looking all too good. And once again, I would love it if Wargaming actually gave us a little scale to tell you how much armor this thing actually has in a little bar, to say, yeah, the green means that it has 190 millimeters of armor, and the blue means it has 140 millimeters of armor. I don't know, but you know, just something to indicate what the actual armor is. But moving onwards, we have the 2023 new Black Tanks bundle. So how much are these vehicles gonna cost. And you would be pleasantly surprised that Wargaming are actually giving a decent deal, because in the past, black vehicles that come into the game are usually at full price, like genuinely 100% value. They don't give a discount. The only time they ever really give a discount is when they bundle, like, you know, all of the black tanks that they've ever done into a black tank mega bundle for like 70,000 gold or something absolute cracked like that. And then they're like, yeah, you can have all of them for like, you know, £200 or something like that. And it's like, yeah, you don't really want 90% of them, because most of the time you have variants of the black tanks for free already in your garage. But we have, 11,600 gold, which for 2 brand new vehicles, including the Soviet double-barreled tank, is actually not a bad price whatsoever. And if you consider, you know, if you spend a bit of money every now and again on the game and, you know, you want to spend a bit more, then I think this bundle is actually not a bad shout. But remember, these tanks are probably not the most overpowered, most competitive, but they look like they might be quite fun with the double barrel mechanic. And of course, being a medium tank in a Cold War is always fun, because you got the mobility and you got this nice fast firing guns and stuff like that. So yeah, I think, yeah, I will probably be purchasing this after I rent the tanks, as per Wargaming kind of give me the opportunity to rent the tanks, to showcase them to you guys, to give my review, so you guys will understand whether they're actually good or whether Wargaming are trying to pull a fast one on you. And so maybe you want to wait until you see the reviews from either myself or anyone else in the community. Just have a little look around, see what everyone is generally saying, because my opinion might not be the same as everyone else. So just take an idea from everyone and then, yeah, make a decision as to whether you want to spend your money on it. Oh God, what happened there? But yeah, that's my opinion. Go and check out, you know, various different people who are playing the tank, and of course, if you have friends and stuff like that, then yeah, take their opinion as well into account. But obviously, if you just want to purchase just the black tank, you can pick up both of them. Unfortunately, the Jaguar with the 40% discount and the 703-2 with the 30%, as I'm sure this will be the most popular one, and Wargaming are trying to rinse you of your money if you don't want to spend the 11,600 gold, so an extra like 3,600 gold to be able to get the Jaguar for free, essentially. So, well, not free, but you're paying 3,600 for the Jaguar on top of the sale of the 703-2. But that is all of the actual content in terms of what Wargaming have put on their website. But of course, as usual, we have the intel page that Wargaming give us, and so we can have a look at that too. So the stuff that they've actually come out with is a slightly different format for the developer update notes today. Usually they do like a list of things in this week, next week, blah, 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 Q&A. But this one, we have the first bit, which is if you actually want to take a look at the tanks before they come in, then there is a YouTube video on World of Tanks' kind of a page. You see what console, etc. You can go on there if you're interested. But of course, it won't be too long before we're actually able to play them, and I'll do it myself to show you guys if you want to wait and see what it's like when it releases. But as for the rest of Tuesday's November 21st update, there is more garage customizations, including a dog. German Shepherds will now be able to adorn your garages, because what tank doesn't need a furry companion? And so much more, like bikes, ladders, more styles of workstations, and even a searchlight. So yeah, you can get all of that in the garage. It will most likely be paid, so you have to spend your gold to be able to purchase it, which I'm not against, because, you know, it's up to you whether you want to make your garage look nice or whatever. I think it's a good idea, and they usually release like some free, as in free, but you have to pay silver to be able to get them as well. So there'll be some content that's also silver related, so you don't have to spend money on it if you don't want to, or at least the gold that you may have saved up from various different areas. But really nice to see that in the game. So good. I like the customization. I think is a good way to go, and of course it doesn't hurt anyone if they, you know, mess up or do something like that. Because, you know, no one's actually, you can't have an overpowered garage, if you get what I mean. Either way, FPS and ping options. The options are set to off by default. Enabling these displays, you will see the values displayed in the upper left corner of the screen. So you can see your FPS and your ping in the game if you want to, and that's in the settings. You can just go on, toggle it on, there it is in your game. Berlin returns. So yeah, this is an interesting one. It's an urban map, a heavy tank style map. and so we'll be able to play it. I'm looking forward to it. Always happy to see a new map return. It's always good. Secondary weapon update. The following tanks will get access to their secondary weapons. So there are there are 5 different tanks with a secondary weapon. So we have the MBT-70, we'll have the KV-4, the Chiri, the Churchill one, and the B1. So maybe I'll have to revisit the Chiri since I hated it recently and found it absolutely atrocious. But yeah, we'll see what it's actually like. It was a fun tank. I really enjoyed playing it, but I hated it. It is like a weird relationship. It was an interesting one for sure. And the KV-4, I absolutely love this tank for some reason. I'm usually absolutely against having heavy tanks that are super slow, but this one, really something different. I don't know what it was about the KV-4, but it actually was interesting to play. And I'm assuming that some of these will be getting flamethrowers. I guess that the Chiri will have a flamethrower. That's probably what it is, but we don't really know. The MBT-70 maybe has like a machine gun or something. I don't know. But we'll see what it's all about on the update day and do some of the reviews on some of these updated tanks, which will be cool. And one of the challenges, or one for the challenges screen, you asked, we delivered. Your non-seasonal challenges now have their own tab once more. So you'll be able to see non-season challenges in your challenges tab. And that's not all. Alongside our usual bundles, you can get yourself the, earn yourself, so another earn challenge. You can get either the SU-130PM, the T-77, the AMX-CDC Black, and the Lerva Black, whichever ones you want to get. All you have to do is collect 225 points along the way, and you'll be able to get some skins as well for these vehicles too. This challenge will work like Monster Hunter, whereby you pick a tank, you play in your game, you get some points, you save up your points, you purchase the tank that you want, or not purchase it, but you spend the points that you've earned in the game to be able to pick one up. We'll go over that when the update goes live, and it will be a bit more in detail as to what you need to do, and maybe I'll do a video on how to get as many points as possible, so that will help you guys if you're interested in that, and it provides some value to you, which is good. And then for the entirety of Thanksgiving weekend, so November 23rd till restart, the following Tuesday, there will be times 3 XP, so 200% bonus on your first win of the day, which is good. Play loads of different tanks, get your 3 times XP on loads of different tanks, and you'll basically be playing with triple XP for the entire weekend. And that will reset every day, so you can, play 3 times over the course of however long this is available. Then we have a new camo in town. Cover your tanks in with fur with our new Doggo style camos. You can do that if you're interested. And as for the season, due to the upcoming holidays, this update spans a 10-week period instead of the normal 8-week period. To account for this, the season start is delayed for 2 weeks and will start on December 5th. Until then, the Seasons tab and challenges will display new season coming soon. Season pass information will be available closer to the season start, and maybe we can start a little bit of speculation as to what you'd like to see in the seasons, just as a bit of fun. And if you've made it this far, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you want the next season to be, and what would you like to see with the release of the new season? It'll be cool to see your thoughts. But other than that, yeah, you can get all of the typical bonus motor multipliers and stuff like that as well. So make use of it. It'll be a good one. I'm looking forward to trying out these new tanks and seeing what they have to offer. This is of course some of the customization that you can get in the game, and there's loads of different ones that you can see. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it, and of course if you want to watch actual videos of how to play World of Tanks, or you want to see some gameplay from some of the tanks that we've covered in recent times, then there is the gameplay and tank reviews playlist, and the most recent gameplay that we've done on the channel up on screen right now. And hopefully I'll join you there. Have a great rest of the day and a weekend that is amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.